So, Chev, tell me what your life was like before starting the coaching.
So before the coaching, I'd say my life was a little bit of it was a bit of a pretense. So I mean, in the sense where I thought I knew exactly what I was doing. I thought I knew exactly what I was aiming for. Thought I knew exactly what I was doing to get there. However, I guess I realized that I didn't have a clue. It was a little bit chaotic. I was pretending to know what I was doing, as opposed to being sure of what direction I wanted to take.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was the biggest challenge or struggle that you had around work?
Um, the biggest challenge I had was confidence. Um, that was probably, yeah, my biggest holdup was confidence, self-belief, just more believing that my abilities warranted where I was or what I was doing. Um, Feelings of like imposter syndrome, a lot of that stuff coming into play. That's how I felt like before.
Okay, cool. Okay, so biggest challenge, as you said, yeah, sort of confidence, imposter, etc. Um, this is a journey moment question. So, can you tell me about a low point or a moment when you kind of at rock bottom in a way, when you realize like something had to change?
Um, I guess I would say those moments would come on a, sometimes on a typical work day where I would be faced with having conversations with my senior management team. Um, there would just be a lot of second guessing in what I was saying to them, whether it was being validated, not validated, whether it was a valuable statement, and also mentioning validated, kind of waiting for validation from senior management or from just people in general. So I felt pretty my low moments came into play when I would start second guessing the conversations that I'm having with
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So, what was the number one goal you wanted to achieve, and why was that important to you?
Um, the main goal that I wanted to achieve was I wanted to become confident, reliable, and I wanted to just become just more outspoken leader in my role as the manager for my team, and also just generally in my personal life as well, in my outside hobbies as well. I just wanted to be more confident, more outspoken in those. That was a challenge that I set myself.
Hmm. And what other things did you try to achieve that goal?
Um, Faking it till you make it, I guess. Um, so just a lot of over speaking, maybe talking a bit too much, just a lot of waffling until I guess I found the right thing that clicked with whoever it is that I was having a conversation with or whoever I was answering to. It was just a lot of going and going and going and going until I guess I was looking out for a reaction on their faces from a facial expression or some sort of approval that yes, he finally said the right thing.
Yeah. Why didn't that work?
It didn't work because I guess it would leave me feeling just feeling a bit low. It would leave me feeling just, I guess, not getting that reaction would leave me feeling like I have done something wrong or I haven't done it properly or I didn't have the answer or I'm just a shit at what I do. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of be searching, saying a load of stuff,
Hmm.
like a machine gun firing, hoping something will land.
Just hoping.
Okay. Um, all right. And so how did you then find out about me and my services?
So the CEO of my company, a few of us had step up positions in the company. So we all, I myself moved from being within the operations team into the management role, and a few of my other colleagues, they also stepped up into team leader and management roles as well. So we all, it was initially seen as, well, we thought it was just going to be management training on how to actually manage people and just kind of do your job better. So when the opportunity was offered for management coaching, I grabbed it with both hands because I felt like this would be helpful in making me better at my job.
Okay. And what was your biggest fear or reservation about joining?
The biggest fear I had was maybe accepting or having to accept that I am as I thought I was. So more like I'm exactly what I thought, what I felt, what I was feeling inside was exactly how it was. And also the fear
What was
of
that?
a pretender in a sense. And I think, yeah, that probably was the biggest fear that I had stepping into it, and just kind of wondering if this is going to work, whether it's going to do what it's supposed to do, or whether it was just going to teach me how to manage and not do anything about me as a person.
Okay. So fear of accepting that maybe people, you thought that you were a pretender, saw
Yeah.
that, but also fear of like, will it actually work?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me about the moment when you did decide to join?
So I guess when I decided to really give it a go and put my all into it, I guess in all honesty, that was probably at the very first session. So the way it was approached, and I felt like there was a sense of, I kind of got a feeling that my coaching, sorry, was going to be individual. It's going to be based on me. In the very first session, we were asked what we want from the session, really. And the thing that I highlighted most at that point was that I wanted to be challenged. At that point, the response I got from yourself on that moment was, okay, I will challenge you. I kind of thought, all right, cool, let's really see if this is gonna work. That's the moment where I thought I have to put my all into it.
Yeah. And can you tell me about the moment when you decided to, say yes to the coaching program?
For me, it wasn't really a big back and throw between it wasn't like a big decision for myself. It was kind of like the opportunity felt like the right thing to do, and I kind of had to think about it, discuss it with my partner, and it just felt like the right thing to do. So I just decided, let's go for it. Let's go for it, man.
Go for it.
Let's go for it.
Okay. So what was it like when you started working with me?
So when I started working with you, the strangest thing about it was how comfortable I felt from the get-go. You obviously, you get told by the CEO of your company or your manager that you're going to be taking on coaching. It's with this person. You learn a name, you learn about the person that's doing it, but you don't necessarily know who you're dealing with. So from the initial conversation on the very first session, and then all the follow-up sessions, the approach that you took, being very understanding, being very patient, all of that was super warming just to work with you, and that encouraged me to be open, encouraged me to be truthful, encouraged me to be a bit more realistic. Another thing that I really enjoyed as well was I had a lot of moments where I just had to just stop and kind of just realize that a thought that I may have had has been completely disheveled, and now I need to put it back together in a way that makes a lot more sense.
Got you. So what were the most helpful lessons and takeaways, and how did you apply them?
So some of the most important ones I would say was the biggest one, I'll start with the biggest one, is the concept of success. So I guess my vision on it was that you start, you graft, and you get there at the end. We had a moment in one of our sessions where I had felt like I'd figured it all out, felt like I was the master of this. And then I was challenged by my manager on something that I guess I felt like I should have had the answer or should have known it, kind of thing, or and I didn't. And then also there was an expectation, or a not an expectation, but more, actually, funny enough, it came off the back of compliment. It came off the back of being complimented on the success that I had shown from doing the coaching. That put a pressure on me, then making me think, oh, you should have it all figured out now. But I wasn't. So I kind of learned that the journey to success isn't straight up. It's not direct. There's like peaks, there's dips, it goes up, it goes down. But changing the mentality on success, viewing it as a consistent learning, that definitely made a massive difference. So I'd say that's one of the biggest takeaways. Living in my true self as well. That's another one. That's another one that really came out, because the visual I had for myself was just like a massive shield, pretending, kind of showing the world what I thought they wanted to see, while behind I was really just working hard to maintain this, and actually putting that down, living in my true self, accepting what I know and what I don't know, being willing to go and find the answer, and actually being confident enough to say to people, I may not have the answer right now, but I can go and find it. That was another key breakthrough for me as well.
Yeah. How did you apply the first lesson?
The first lesson, I guess I applied it by just kind of taking a step back, not being so hard on myself. That's not beating myself down for not being able to figure it all out. I think that was probably the big one. Just taking the pressure off of myself and not being so hard on myself. That definitely did it.
Okay. So what surprised you most about working together? How work together?
What was surprised me? I think what surprised me was the fact that, I guess, you understood. You kind of understood where I was trying to get to. I myself, I probably label myself as being complex, multi-layered, and not feeling like anyone understands or anyone would understand. And it was quite surprising speaking to you about different topics relating to professional and also to my hobbies or to my personal life, and kind of you understanding the approach that needed to be taken. That was probably one of the most surprising pieces.
Good. Well, what was the hardest part about working with me?
Oh, the hardest part about it. The hardest part was being challenged. The hardest part was having your preconceived notions of just how you do things. Just having someone else. I was open to it. I was very much open to it, but having your views challenged by somebody with a different mindset, or someone with, I would say better, but let's say different mindset. That was probably the most challenging part of it. And in some sense as well, the emotions that came with it, that was probably quite challenging to face, because I guess I wanted to view you as a stranger, but over the weeks, we pretty much built a bond, we built a rapport with each other, where it got easier to open up and it got easier to discuss things.
Okay. So the hard part sort of became easier.
Yeah.
Okay. And did anybody discourage you from trying or make the process harder?
No, no one really no one did that but myself. No one
Okay.
made it harder, no one made it more difficult for me. It was quite encouraging. I think the changes in mindset started happening during the process, then they started being recognized by people around. So that was really it was really empowering. So yeah, everyone was quite open to see what the end result would be.
Love that. Did you ever feel there was a moment you wanted to quit?
I did.
Stop doing it.
I did. I would say probably around week 7. I started feeling, and the only reason I felt that way was because I felt like I'd cracked it. I felt like I'd figured it out. There's no need to go any further now. Like I've done it. I've completed it.
What did completed it feel like? Where had you got to that made you think you completed it?
I had successfully, so like I'd been to so I traveled to one of our suppliers that I work with, and I had a really good meeting there. And I came out of that meeting. I went there. They were happy with everything I delivered. They were happy with conversations, happy with the way I handled things. And I guess I came out of it feeling like, yeah, that's a pat on the back. That's the stamp of approval. I got it all figured out now. I don't need to do this anymore.
Okay. So how did you overcome that then? That you wanting to quit? How did you overcome that?
I guess it was swiftly followed by, to be honest with you, there is a level of persistence that comes with you as the coach. So I feel like I may have wanted to stop, but I feel like you dug deeper in a sense. And that digging deeper kind of highlighted, like it's almost like it kind of dusted off a whole nother level of things that needed to be looked into, and I kind of just reset again. I'm just like, all right, cool. Let me sit back down and keep going because it's not there yet.
New level, new devil.
New level, new devil. That's the one.
So what was your first big win when working together, or the moment you realized like, oh wow, like this works?
I would say the first big win. There were a few small ones, like challenging management, or having like solid discussions, and just being able to share my points successfully. I think some of the bigger moments included outside of my working life, where I was able to so I do photography on the side, so was able to actually take on jobs that I initially would have felt like, oh, I'm not good enough for this one, or I don't know exactly what I'm doing. Taking them on successfully, getting reviews from clients, everyone being happy about that. That was probably the first real big one for me.
Cool. What was the biggest and most exciting result you achieved? Can you tell me? I'm just going to say the question again. Sorry.
Yeah.
So what was the biggest and most exciting result that you achieved? Can you tell me about the moment that happened?
So I would say the biggest achievement, I would probably, it's really hard to pick one out, in all honesty, because I feel like there were so many things changed. But the biggest one I could probably think of is I will go with the same one that kind of threw me off keel a little bit, and that is having a conversation with my manager, and without any prompts or without me trying to seek some sort of validation, there was a recognition of the changes in the way I'm handling my job. So when I first started the role, managing priorities, managing different personalities all within my team, all of those things were a challenge. But then there was a recognition that I'm on top of things. I'm really handling it. The team are performing great. I'm managing my key priorities pretty well. And it was just a moment of unprovoked, unrequested validation on like just a genuine acknowledgement of effort. And that was a solid win for me, because previously I would have felt like I would have been doing something to get it, but I didn't have to. It was just the way I was now, the new improved version of me that shone through, and we had that win.
Huge.
So huge.
Were there any other key milestones?
I'm trying to think. But there probably were. My mind's gone blank. Sorry about that. My mind's gone a bit blank there. I'm sure there were. There was the. I can't think of one right now. Sorry.
That's all good.
Sorry about that.
That's right. I'll move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about a moment when you thought something like, I can't believe this is my life now. This is who I am now.
Yeah, can I feel like I don't know why I've suddenly had a mind blank. I'm so sorry, man.
Right.
I'm trying to remember. There were, I mean, one of the key ones, like I've mentioned it already, is the visit to the supplier's office. That was because I never envisaged myself as being a manager. I never thought that I would be at a place where I'm visiting suppliers, I'm interacting with people that represent another company, me representing my own company, and actually being able to shine, being able to deliver, being able to actually be a positive outlook for the company that I work for. I stepped out of that moment thinking, oh, this is kind of good. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like you're actually doing it. You're actually doing it.
You're actually doing it.
You're actually doing it. You are being 100% you in this moment, and it's the right thing.
Yeah. And how about that? I thought that there was a moment at one point where you said to me, like, I feel like I am a confident, reliable, outspoken leader.
That was at the.
When was that?
I would say that would be at the end of it all. At the end of it all, when I kind of stepped back and I really looked back, because I think for me, going through the process, I didn't necessarily take time to stop and visualize the wins, because I felt like I was just on a pathway to get to the end, because my vision was straight up. But looking back at a moment where I sat with a member of my team, and we were having some difficulties around setting priorities and then managing their workloads, and it kind of came to fruition, and it just came to fruition that it was more of what I expected of them versus us making an actual agreement on what needs to be completed. So I sat down with that team member. We went through their calendar, structured their calendar to make it so they were as efficient as they could be with their day. They walked away feeling a lot better, a lot more motivated, a lot more direction, and actually straight off the back of that, for someone that wasn't very outspoken before, it was quite nice to see one of my team members actually say, I'm actually gonna take the initiative to send something out for the whole company that actually supports what we do. And I kind of stepped back in that moment and thought, it's really good. Like it was nice to see this. Really nice to have that moment. It was a really powerful moment for me because I actually got to see that it's working.
Yeah.
It's really working.
Yeah. Amazing. Have you got time for 3 more questions?
Yeah, man, I'm sorry.
Cool. So now that you've had that success, what's next for you?
So what's next for me?
Oh, wait, I'm going to rephrase that. Sorry. Pause. Cool. So now that you've had some of the success, what are you most excited about next?
The thing I'm most excited about is continuing to develop on what I've learned so far. I'm continuing with my daily affirmations, just reaffirming to myself that I'm meant to be here. I'm meant to be doing this job. I'm meant to be in the position that I am, and I'm capable of doing it. Going forward, it's just more learning, some more giving myself the knowledge to reaffirm everything that I believe. Just a lot more focus on myself, building my own self-confidence, building my own self-assurance, just making sure that I am solid at all times.
Awesome.
It's great.
Love it. What advice would you have for somebody who was in the same position as you know, about to join a coaching program with me?
The main thing I would say is to be open, to be 100% open with, be open to not knowing exactly what needs to be done. I feel like you were able to help give direction in a dark and cloudy space. So it was gaining clarity during our sessions was probably one of the most profound bits for me. So I would say to anybody entering, like about to take this on, be open with what you want from the course, be open with what you want from the experience. Just don't be afraid. Just don't be afraid. There's so much to gain from it. There's so much to gain from it.
What would you say to someone? What would you say to someone who was afraid?
If you're feeling afraid, I would say, if you're feeling afraid, also be open with that as well. Don't feel like you need to hide that fact either. I think myself, I was hesitant, but I was hesitant, but I was willing at the same time. So it's a case where you just have to allow yourself to just gain the benefits from the experience. And it really is an experience. You get to see yourself in a light that you probably wouldn't have seen yourself before. It's like the changes, they are happening and you won't recognize them. You won't recognize the changes as they happen, but just be open to whatever changes come and do your homework as well.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you'd like to share, Chev?
I guess I would like to just say to you, just thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for your honesty and for all the resources that you provided over the 10 weeks. There is so much more to it than just the sessions. There is the bits that you have to do for yourself to help give you direction. There's also a level of you kind of always seem to have the thing that's needed in that moment. Prime example is when I spoke to you about the work situation and the person not being forthcoming with, all of their work, and it's just like, oh, I have this bit of listening here. I'll send this over to you. You send it over, and I listened to it, and my mind just went like this. Yeah, man, to you, I just want to say thank you for just knowing exactly what needed to be done in the moment, in all the moments, and for making me feel comfortable enough to open myself up to the experience. And I am very appreciative of who I am now. I know you will say, Chev, you did the work, but I'm gonna put it back on you and say we did it together, man.
We did. And it was awesome.
It
Thank you.
was. No worries at all.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Wicked.